My father always wanted a boy, but he got me, a girl. So he still wanted me to be in charge of the family business. But when he remarries later on in life and finds out that his new significant other has a son, well, he decides to show my new stepbrother all the attention and even tries to give him my positioning in the family business. But guys, there's a deep, dark secret about my stepbrother, and I'm going to share it and expose it to everybody. My father decided to give my stepbrother money to start a business but refused to help me pay for school. Right now, I'm absolutely fuming. My father has just betrayed me, and he does not think that he is wrong in any sort of way. I cannot say anything to him because I'm dependent on him. But I'm so upset. I cannot say anything at all. I can't believe that I thought I could trust him. Now, my plans are ruined and my future is on the line, and I'm not upset because he did not give me the money that he said he was going to give me. I'm upset because of the fact that he lied to me about caring about my education. I don't want to call him names, but I feel like he did this because I'm not the son that he always wanted. The problem is I'm a girl. You might think that I'm overreacting, so I'll give you a bit of a backstory so that you understand why I feel like this. So, my father is a well-off man, very hard-working, and he has always taken care of my family. He and my mother split up many years ago, and I was very young, and I have not seen my mother since. He just told me that my mom fell in love with someone else and decided to leave him. It was just him and I for a while, and he was the doting father who did everything for me. He always used to tell me that I could be anything. I thought I was going to inherit everything because he taught me everything that was needed from a young age. But be it driving, changing tires, etc., I could do it all. He told me that one day I was going to run his estate, and he was preparing for me. I did not have any other plans other than that. Even when it came to what I was going to study, he told me that what I was going to study, and he sold me on the idea. My dad and I were very close, up until he remarried. You see, he remarried a widow who had a son a couple years older than me. I did not get along with my stepbrother, and I just merely tolerated him. When our parents were still dating, he did not pay attention to me. I was never cool enough to hang out with him. His mom tried to include me, but Jefferson thought that I was not smart enough or cool enough to hang out with him. When our parents started living together, it got even worse. He was in his final year of college then, and when he came home, he spent more time with my dad than I did. My dad started to cancel plans with me for him. He took him to conferences, and when he usually would take me. When I asked him why he was doing that, he said that he wanted me to also spend some time with my friends. He felt that Jeff was more likely to benefit from it than me. He encouraged me to be friends with his friends' daughters, and I did not like them because they were fake and spoke about me behind my back. I did not feel comfortable with them, so I ended up lying about hanging out with them, and this was when I picked up a hobby, something unlikely. I enjoyed reading architectural and decoration magazines, and I even started getting into home decor shows. I started to toy with the idea that I could get into decor or architecture. So, when I finished high school, I told my father that it was what I wanted to do. He was not happy about it. We already had a plan about what I wanted to do, and this led to a big fight because both of us felt that we were not listening to each other. But how could I do what he wanted to do when he was replacing me with Jefferson? My dad literally told me that he was not going to help me out if I did not do the course that he wanted. So, I just let go of my dreams and went to school for business management. At that time, my brother started working with my father. I was a bit jealous, but figured that once I finished studying, there would be space for me too. Unfortunately for me, COVID happened. We switched to online courses, but it was not easy for me to adjust, you know. My father refused to help me with anything because his attention was completely on Jeff. And then after I failed a semester, he told me that he could not continue to pay for what I was doing because I was failing. He even went on to say that it was better for me to go into decor than go into business. He felt that business was not for me. It was better suited for Jeff. I was upset because I was only still doing this because of him. I had begged him to let me do what I wanted, but he refused. Now he had changed his mind because he had a son that he never had. I had just been the placeholder daughter until he found a son. I told him that I felt he had watched a year of my life, and he was not happy about that. He went on to tell me that I was being rude and absolutely ungrateful. By then, I was so tired of it since I decided to move out, and before I could move out, he came to me to apologize. He told me that in a next year, he would give me money so that I could go and study and do what I wanted. So, I took the rest of the year off as a gap year. I thought funding was sorted, and that was until a couple days ago. My father came to tell me that I would need to apply for a scholarship. I asked him why I would need to apply for one when he was the one who was supposed to be funding me. So, he told me that he was retiring from the company and was going to give his money to Jeff. Apparently, Jeff had a very good business idea, so because of that, he did not have money to pay for my education up until Jeff's business paid off and he could pay my father back. I asked my father why Jeff could not do this another time, and he told me that he believed in him and the idea was going to bring lots of money into the family. I asked him why he had been grooming me to be the heir of the family if he simply knew that Jeff was going to be the one taking over. He told me that he felt Jeff was more capable of taking our small family business and turning it into something else big. But then why was he retiring? Could he not continue working? He told me that he was running on losses, so he was going to sell everything. And he also had his retirement fund, which he would give to Jeff so that he could now take over. What? He told me not to worry because once business picked up, my brother was going to take care of me. I did not care about that. What I cared about was that it was too late for me to look for a scholarship, you know. I only got more mad when hours later I heard Jeff tell a friend that he was getting half of the pension. How could he give him half of all of his money? That wasn't fair. He had promised me a dream of getting into the home and event decor, and now I could not do it. I was so mad that the next day I had to confront my stepbrother. I told him that what he did was not necessary and that he did not deserve that money. Ever since he came into my life, he has just taken from me and taken from me. First my father, then my role as my father's successor, and now my tuition fees. I know that he's only getting half, but my dad said that what is going to be left over is supposed to sustain the family for now. So, he cannot spare it to pay for my tuition, and I feel like he could, he just doesn't want to. He moves mountains for my stepbrother, but he does nothing for me. I don't believe it. What's up, everybody? Mr. Reddito here. So it looks like OP is going through a tough time. We do have an update though, and it's titled Things Worked Out For Me. If you guys are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button for daily videos, and let's jump into update number 1. So, I decided to stop just being angry and bitter. If my father does not appreciate me and value me for who I am, then I need to do that for myself. For years, I was what he wanted me to be because he did not have a son. But as soon as he had a son, I was put into the sidelines. I mean, I could have just sulked and done nothing when that happened, but I decided that it was time for me to do things for myself. The first thing I did was look for a job. I've never had to work, so the job I got was a waitressing job. I stayed with my father during that time, and I also had to see Jeff become successful and see Dad talk about how proud he is of him every single time. That made me very angry when it happened, but I still continued to work on myself. As I was doing that, I was saving money. Funny how life works, because a customer came in one day. We got to talking as I was serving her, and I found out she had a decor and events company but was struggling because her assistant just quit. Oh boy. I asked if I could help her when she was overwhelmed, and it was just a lot of admin work that she needed help with, and I'm good at that, because my father taught me, and I even went to business school, you know. So, we had a trial week, and by the end of the week, I was hired. She has been mentoring me and teaching me all that she knows for the past couple of months, and I've been doing well for myself and making good money as well, along with my other job. That last week, I was able to move out of my father's house. Granted that my new apartment is nothing short of a shoebox, but it's something that I can call mine. I've never had to live alone before, but it feels so good. I'm also glad that I'm away from my father and Jeff. I mean, you have no idea how it's made me feel that my father loves Jeff so much and values him more than me. When I tell Dad about my achievements, he does not pay attention or blink an eye. When I ask him to do something with me or go somewhere with me, he cancels. Even when I moved out, he did not care. He at least helped me find someone to move all my stuff with. He's not checked up on me even once since I moved out. My peace of mind has improved since I got out of that toxic house, and I'm glad about it, to be honest. Now it's time for me to chase my dreams and become something. I don't even need to study something yet. For now, I'm doing what I love and taking it one day at a time. Thank you for your advice on doing things for myself, not for other people. It is a very important lesson that I failed to learn while I was growing up. What's up, everybody? So, the next update is coming out a year later. I looked for another update from the OP, but I can promise you that is the next update. It is a year later, so let's go ahead and jump directly into this. I did not think that I would be updating you. I thought that this issue was resolved, and I accepted what my dad did and went about my own life. I'm now working with a different company, making more money as well. I managed to quit my waitressing job, and I even got a new apartment. I've also started to date someone new. In the past, my relationship has never worked out because no one's good enough for my father. But since he is out of my life and is not meddling anymore, I've managed to make a relationship last. I've not talked to my father or my brother for the whole year. It's like they have not even noticed or cared that I'm gone. At first, it bothered me, but then I realized that it was important they would make time for me if they really cared. But clearly, I'm not important. My stepbrother is out of the country, and those of these rumors that I've heard. My father, on the other hand, sold the house and moved to the countryside with my stepmom. When people ask me about my family, I tell them that I have none. I have made new friends, though, and met people who have treated me like family in the past year, so I do not miss it. It is strange how people, now they know that I'm not related to, have stuck out their necks for me this year. It's just crazy to me. Well, they have been there for me and even advised me and made me feel like my opinions matter. It has taken some getting used to. I've also learned to let go of my resentment. Maybe it was a good thing that my father flaked on me. I've always had to rely on him, but now I can rely on myself. But enough about it. I have two things that I need to tell you. The first one is that I recently talked to my birth mother. I know nothing about her. My father did not like to speak about her, and she did not come looking for me, so I didn't look for her. But then, her sister contacted me out of the blue, telling me that they've been looking for me for a long, long time. So, a few weeks ago, she flew in and I met her for the first time in a long time, and she told me that when my father and her divorced, he took custody and forbid her from seeing him. So, She also says that he left her because of the fact that she got her tubes tied without consulting him. When she was pregnant with me, it was a high-risk pregnancy, and the doctors did not want her to follow through with it, but she did. She was told that if she survived, it was best for her to stop having kids. Otherwise, the next one would kill her. My father thought it was nonsense and told her not to listen to him. But after giving birth to me, she realized that she wanted to see me grow up and was not going to risk her life. She did not need my father's permission to make that decision, so she did it. She got her tubes tied. Once I was a year old, she told him, and he was very, very angry. So he divorced her and got custody of me. She left town because the pain was too much for her, and he made it impossible for her to work there. He told lies about her and manipulated the family against her. But once I turned 18, she started to look for me, and now she's found me. We're trying to make the whole mother-daughter thing work, but it's still in the early stages, you know. I need to get used to her. But once that happens, maybe we can have a relationship. The second thing that happened is that I saw a missed call from my father. When I called him, he told me that he really needed my help because he was in trouble. I was hesitant about helping him because remember all the stuff that he has pulled? So I told him to leave me the heck alone. He has been calling and texting, but I have been ignoring him, and yesterday, when I was working on decoration, she showed up at my workplace. He looked absolutely terrible, like he had not slept in days, and people were looking at me, so I could not send him away without hearing him out. I did not want to make a scene, so I took a break and decided to listen to him. He told me that half his pension was gone. I asked, well, how's it gone? Jeff has that business that he's been working on, and he had the money that he got from his retirement. He told me that the money was nearly finished and he was trying to look for another job just to make ends meet. But Jeff had spent all the money on a vacation. That's right, a vacation. I did not understand what he meant because I saw Jeff's business plan, but he claimed that he was making progress and a ton of money. My father told me that he found out a while ago that Jeff blew the money, and now he has not returned a single phone call. I didn't know what to say. It was a lot to process, you know. It still is. What does he expect me to do? He is the one who picked Jeff over me and made that deal. No one forced him to give Jeff that money. He did it on his own. So there's nothing much that I can say, is there? I honestly told him that I had a lot on my plate, and, well, he should deal with his mess on his own. It's not my mess, it's his son's mess now. Now that his perfect son is messed up, he wants to remember that he has a daughter? I think not. Not to mention what he did to my mother. I have not even mentioned to him that my mom told me what he did. I don't want to fight with him or make him explain himself. He's not my family anymore. Update. The situation worsened. I know I said that I was not going to help my father, but I was so stressed about him and I could not help but think of my brother's betrayal days later. I wondered why he would do such a thing after all that Dad has done for him. The more I thought about it, the more I needed to know more. Since he was not answering his phone, I found his girlfriend's number and called her, and she told me that she was no longer with him. He ghosted her several months ago. I asked what led to it, and she said that she just stopped talking to her. Well, I interrogated her for a while, which was when I got a bit more information out of her. Jeff did have a business, and it was going well. He was doing so well that he was able to make lifestyle changes. He was suddenly able to afford a lifestyle that he never could before. He also started networking with influential people, and in all of that, he changed. He stopped valuing his relationship with his girlfriend, and he missed out on a lot of things because he was always going on trips. His business partner tried to help, but keeping the company afloat. Father also wanted his investment money back, and he kept on delaying and saying that he had a new deal or he was having cash flow problems and whatnot. The last time she heard from him, he was going on an exclusive holiday on a remote island with some of his friends. He was there for a very long time, spending all the money that was in the business account. His business partner tried to stop him before he made the company bankrupt, but the process was very difficult. He ignored his girlfriend during his binge partying, and appeared to have moved on to other girls. So, she deleted his number and moved on with her life for her sanity. She also had screenshots of his post where he was spending all that money like there was no tomorrow. I was flabbergasted by what she revealed to me. I didn't like him. He was mean and selfish, but for him to treat people who cared about him and wanted to help him like that was an all-time low. I resolved then that I had to find him and make him pay for what he did to Dad, his girlfriend, and his business partner. I then sent an email to his business partner who confirmed that what Annie told me was true. He had spent all the money on trivial things and left his business partner, to do all the work. He had been doing this from the very start. He provided the majority of the capital, so he was in the main shareholder. He used that power to make his partner overwork while he made all other major decisions and took most of the profits. In the end, the company was bankrupt and they had nothing to show for it. Now, he was not answering anyone's calls because he was too embarrassed. When he got stuck on the island, he had to call his mother to send him money for a ticket. Wait, his mom? That was a new piece of information. If his mom knew that he was stuck on the island, then she could help me find him. The question was if my father knew that she helped him come back into the country or not. I called my father and briefly explained what happened, and he sent me his location and asked if we could meet up. So, a day later I arrived at their country house where I was met by my father and stepmother. I decided to explain everything again in further detail. My stepmom acted a bit confused, saying that she did not know why her son would do that and she hoped that he was safe. I was not in the mood for lies. I asked her where he went after she sent him money for a plane ticket. My father was so livid when he found out that there were things she was keeping from him. She tried to deny that she bought the ticket until my father demanded to see her credit card statement. Knowing that it would prove her to be a liar, she told us the absolute truth. She gave him the money, just to pay for the ticket when he asked her for the help. Apparently, he owed a lot of people money besides my father, and he had no way of paying it back, and he was scared to come back. His business partner wanted to file a lawsuit against him, and his father wanted his money, and he owed the bank. As soon as he appeared, he would be in trouble. She begged me not to expose him because he was scared about what would happen to him. I got that she wanted to protect her son. I understand that. But either way, someone was going to find him one day, you know? He knew what he was doing, and now it's time for him to pay for his actions. So, I went ahead and told her to be prepared for what she was to come. If I protected him, then I would be an accomplice for his crimes. I told my father that I'd find him. It was up to him what he would do with him when I did. So now I wait as I do my best to find him, and I feel like the victim needs this. Update. A week later. I did as I said I would do. I found him. I just had to ask around and find out more about who he trusted, right? He was hiding out with a friend, and when I cornered him, I told him that running would not help. What I could do for him was help him pay back the money without having to go to jail. I asked my mom for advice on this, and by the way, she became a lawyer after she split up from my father. Long story short, they recently met again. Mom was actually willing to hear him out, and he was very ashamed of how he treated her and promised that he would tell the family the truth. She was more understanding than I would have been if it was me in that situation. She said that she had forgiven him a long time ago. She was not going to be his best friend, but she was willing to co-parent with him. What she said made me so proud that she's my mother. She is an empathetic, confident, classy woman. I hope to be just like her one day. But back to Jeff. Jeff tried to explain himself and tried to absolutely deny it, and I showed him all the evidence that I had, and I told him how bad things could get if the people pressed charges. Technically, he had scammed people of their money, and that was a criminal offense, you know. I could help him make peace with them, and he could start paying them back slowly if he decided to come out of hiding. I told him that the choice was his, but soon someone who was not as understanding as I was would find him. I told him that he could face between 5 to 10 years considering the extent of his crimes. I told him that he had a while to decide, but that if he took too long, I was not going to keep quiet about his whereabouts. I gave him the number of a good lawyer and then I left. Days later, I was invited back to my father's home, and he had come and he confessed everything to his dad. He admitted that he had been selfish, and instead of owning up to his mistakes, he decided to run away. Dad made sure that he understood how much hell he put him through, and Jeff said that he was going to start working hard and that his mom was getting him debt counseling. Hopefully, once he finds a job, he'll be able to pay back people's money. He appears very regretful of his life choices, as he should be. It is good for him that he decided to come back and face the music. He'll start speaking to the people that he owes soon and making a payment plan. Hopefully, none of them are going to press charges against him. Dad, on the other hand, said that he'll not press charges, but he does not trust Jeff anymore. Final update, 3 months later. The past 3 months have been drama-free for once in my life. Things have fallen into place for me, and I feel like my life is back on track once again. My mother had to leave the country once again, but we talk all the time. She's flying back here in a few months for my wedding. I've started to repair my relationship with my father, and he was very impressed with how I handled the situation. He even apologized to me for undermining me over the years. He said that he made a mistake by thinking that I cannot lead because I'm a female. He's very proud of me and the direction that my career's taking. I'm doing very well, upskilling whenever I get the chance to, and I'm working with a very respected decor company, where my opinion is always valued. I learn something new every single day, and I get better. You know what they say. If you're doing what you love, then you don't have to work a day in your life. Jeff is taking it one day at a time. He even managed to start debt counseling and has a job now. I've seen him a few times at family gatherings, but it's always a bit awkward. That's because he and Dad are no longer as close as before. Once a person breaks his trust, then it's difficult to get it back. And yes, I hope they fix things in the future. I don't know if Jeff and I will ever get along. After all, he has done a lot for his family. I just hope that he'll be serious about getting help and will pay back my father. This is the only money that he has ever seen since the rest is tied up in investments. Otherwise, he's doing great. My stepmom is also working so that she can support him. She really does love him and cares about him, so I have forgiven her for lying to me. As for myself, I told you that I'm getting married to my boyfriend of nearly 2 years. He was there for me through the whole family fiasco, even though it took most of my time. We had not seen each other for weeks, and when I finally realized this, I was scared that I had lost him. He was a bit upset that I ignored him and did not let him help. I've been so independent lately that asking for help feels like a weakness. But he taught me that it does not have to be a big weakness when you're in a relationship. Partners help each other. That made me fall more in love with him. A week ago, he proposed to me on my birthday. It was while we were out at a picnic. It was sweet, intimate, which I liked. I'm not a person who would want such a private moment to be anyone else's business. So I guess now it's time for me to start on my wedding preparations. There's so much to do, but we hope to get married in 6 months or less. So, I guess I better get offline and start working on my wedding preparations. I have a lot of fresh ideas, you know. So a lot of people in the comment section are talking about OP's father. How he's the absolute a-hole of the story, not the stepbrother. And the reasoning is because OP is the biological, to the father. So why was the father switching up and trying to take the stepbrother's side? Guys, I mean, this story was absolutely wild, and I do want to hear your opinion on it. If you were in OP's shoes and you were trying to be the leader of the family business, but the sole reason that it goes to your stepbrother is because you're a female. I mean, that is just ridiculous. And that's why most of the commenters were so mad at OP's dad by saying, hey, you ditched your daughter and it turned out to go completely bad for you. You lost a lot of money, so don't expect OP to stand around for you now when you finally come crawling back. So let me know your thoughts about that, guys. Share it in the comment section down below. My name's Mr. Reddito. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you want more daily drama stories just like today, inheritance dramas, mother-in-law dramas, we cover it all. Make sure you subscribe with those bell notifications turned on. That way you get alerted whenever I upload. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and just remember, it's cool to be kind. See ya.